Let's be honest for a second. Trading can feel like emotional warfare. One moment, you're on top of the world. The next, your heart's pounding, your palms are sweating, and you're staring at a red candle that just wiped out your entire morning. The market doesn't just test your strategy, it tests you, your patience, your self-control, your confidence, your sanity. And that's what this audiobook is about. Because if you've been trading for more than a week, you already know the technicals are only half the battle. The real challenge? Staying calm when the market is going crazy. It sounds simple, but in practice, it's one of the hardest skills to master. When volatility spikes, when trades go against you, when you're staring down your fifth loss in a row, your brain goes into survival mode. You freeze, you fight, you revenge trade, you hesitate when you should act, and act impulsively when you should wait. And then you spiral. You start questioning your system. You doubt your edge. You overtrade, oversize, overthink, all trying to chase back a feeling of control. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Every trader, from beginner to professional, has felt that chaos. The difference is, some get stuck in it, and some learn to stay centered inside the storm. That's what this audiobook will teach you. Not empty motivational fluff, not surface-level tips like just stick to your plan, but real psychological strategies to help you regulate your emotions, manage your thoughts, and make calm, confident decisions no matter what the market throws at you. Inside, you'll learn why your brain sabotages you in high-pressure trades and how to train it to respond differently. How to build true detachment so you're not emotionally chained to every tick. Simple breathing and focus techniques that can reset your mind in 60 seconds. The truth about FOMO, revenge trading, and why most traders spiral after losses. Mental scripts you can use during wild market swings to stay grounded and sharp. What to do before you sit down at the charts so you're not trading with baggage. And how to build a calm, focused identity that doesn't live or die with your P&L. This isn't about removing all emotions. That's not realistic. It's about managing them, mastering them, working with them instead of being ruled by them. Because once you can stay calm in the chaos, you'll see the market differently. You'll react slower, but think sharper. You'll stop chasing, stop forcing, stop needing every trade to work. You'll become a threat, not to others, but to the old version of you who kept panicking every time things got messy. So if you're tired of feeling like your emotions are running your trades, if you want to finally feel in control even when the market isn't, if you're ready to trade like a calm, confident professional, then settle in, breathe deep, and let's begin this journey together. Because the markets won't get less crazy, but you're about to get unshakable. Chapter 1. The Calm Within the Storm. You can feel it the moment you open your trading terminal. The charts are wild, prices are flashing, red bars crash like waves, green ones spike like lightning, news headlines scream fear in all caps, market meltdown, or Dow plunges 800 points. Everyone's panicking. Social media is full of traders screaming losses or begging for answers. It feels like chaos, like you're standing in the eye of a storm, and part of you wants to run. But you don't. Not this time. Because this time, you're going to approach this storm differently. This time, you'll stay calm. Now, that doesn't mean you're not feeling something. Of course you are. Your chest tightens, your palms sweat, your brain starts spiraling. Should I exit? Should I hedge? What if I lose everything? You've been here before. You know the script. Panic wants the wheel. But here's the truth. Most traders never hear in time. You can train yourself to remain calm when the market loses its mind. You can build that skill like a muscle, and it starts with one core idea. The market is not the enemy. Your reaction to it is. When the volatility spikes, when things start slipping out of control, your primitive brain lights up like a fireworks show. The amygdala, the part of your brain designed to protect you from tigers and cliffs, doesn't know the difference between a falling candlestick and a falling rock. It thinks danger is danger. It thinks red candles mean you're dying. So what does it do? It hijacks your system. It narrows your focus. It pumps adrenaline into your bloodstream. It shuts off logical thinking and prepares you to fight or flee. But the market isn't something to fight or run from. It's not a lion. It's just information. Waves of buying and selling. People reacting. People overreacting. And if you can step outside that reaction, even for a few seconds, you can take back control. So that's your first real trick. Recognize that your panic isn't wisdom, it's wiring. And the moment you see that, something powerful happens. You create a gap, a moment of space between stimulus and response. And in that space, you can choose. You can choose calm. You can choose discipline. You can choose to breathe. Right now, I want you to try this. It sounds simple, but it works. Breathe in slowly for 4 seconds. Hold it for 4. Breathe out for 4. Hold it again for 4. That's called box breathing. It's what Navy SEALs use in combat, what surgeons use before high-risk procedures, what elite traders use before they place the trade that could change everything. And you can use it now, anytime you want, because your breath is the only part of your nervous system that you can control directly. And when you slow your breath, you send a message to your brain. We are safe. We are not being hunted. We are not in danger. And your body listens. So do it again. 4 in, hold. 4 out, hold. Feel it, that tiny bit of space. That's the beginning of calm. Now let's talk about something else, your internal narrative. What are you telling yourself when the market crashes, when the positions turn against you? If your inner voice sounds like this, I'm such an idiot, I always mess this up, I'm going to lose everything, then your stress levels will spike, your anxiety will climb, your decisions will suffer. So you have to catch it. You have to notice the story you're telling and rewrite it. Instead of, I'm such a failure, try, this is just a phase. I can manage it. I have a plan. Instead of, everything's falling apart, try, markets are volatile. That's normal. I'm not the market. I'm the observer. Your words matter. The way you talk to yourself determines the way you act under pressure. Calm doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you've trained yourself to respond, not react, to trust your plan, not your panic. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you panicked and it helped you? Seriously, think about it. When did panic ever make you more strategic? When did freaking out make your entries better? When did impulsively exiting a trade just because it dipped for 5 minutes ever make you proud? You know the answer. It didn't. So today, right now, you start a new chapter, a new habit, a new identity. Not the emotional trader, not the reactive trader. You become the calm one, the one who sees red and doesn't flinch, the one who hears chaos and stays centered, the one who looks at a crashing chart and says, let's stick to the plan. That identity is earned. It's not gifted. And it's forged in moments like this, when the world's losing its head and you decide not to. You're not your feelings. You're not your losses. You're not your fear. You are the space between all of those. And in that space, you can create something powerful. You can create calm. You can create clarity. You can create a mindset that actually gives you an edge when everyone else is giving in. And that's where your real advantage begins. Not with some secret indicator, not with a hot stock pick, but right here, with your breath, with your mindset, with your ability to pause when the market screams. This is the foundation. This is where we begin. Chapter 2. The Myth of Control. Letting go without giving up. You hate losing control, don't you? That tight, anxious feeling when a trade moves the opposite way? That twitchy need to do something? Your mouse hovers over the exit button? You double-check the chart again. You refresh the news feed again. You tell yourself, if I just act quickly, I can fix this. I can stop the pain. But here's the secret you've been avoiding. You were never in control of the market. Not today, not yesterday, not ever. And the faster you accept that, the calmer you'll become. That doesn't mean giving up. Letting go of control isn't surrender, it's power. Because when you stop wasting energy trying to bend the market to your will, you free up energy to focus on what you can control: your system, your process, your emotional state. Let me be brutally honest here. You don't move the market. Your account size doesn't matter to the billion-dollar algorithms. Your opinion won't stop a crash. Your panic won't change the trend. So what can you do? You can prepare. You can plan. You can respond with intention. That's what calm traders do. They don't react, because they already decided in advance what they'll do when things get crazy. They built rules. They wrote playbooks. They know their exit levels before they enter the trade. They aren't surprised by volatility. They've already made peace with it. And now it's your turn. Right now, I want you to answer a few questions in your mind. Honestly, without ego. When you take a trade, do you already know your stop-loss level? Do you have a rule for when to reduce position size in volatile markets? Do you know what percentage of your capital is exposed at any one time? If you said no to any of those, that's where your panic comes from. Because uncertainty breeds fear. When you don't have rules, you fall back on emotion. And when your brain is stressed, it wants to take back control. Any control. Even if that means doing something reckless, like revenge trading, or adding to a loser, or blowing up your risk management just to feel better. But the feeling never lasts, because you were never fixing the trade, you were just fixing your discomfort. This is how you break that cycle. You shift from trying to control the market to controlling your environment inside the market. That means having a pre-written plan. Not just a trading plan on paper, but a psychological plan. What will you do when the market goes against you? What will you do when you feel the urge to overtrade? What's your emotional stop-loss? You need answers before the chaos begins, because once the adrenaline hits, it's too late to think clearly. Think of it like this. Airline pilots don't invent procedures mid-flight. They train in simulators. They run drills. They anticipate failure points. And when something goes wrong, they follow the checklist. Calm, clear, deliberate. No emotion, just execution. You're not flying a jet, but in a way you are. You're navigating high-stakes decisions in an unpredictable environment. One wrong move and you could crash your account. That's not drama, that's reality. So you build your checklist now. You train your mind now. You accept what you can't control, and you master what you can. Here's another truth. Trying to control outcomes is rooted in fear. You fear being wrong. You fear missing out. You fear regret. But those fears don't vanish when you act on them. They grow. Because fear fed is fear amplified. Instead, you learn to observe those feelings without obeying them. You feel the fear, but you don't flinch. You watch the red bar drop, but you don't panic sell. You hear the alarm bells in your mind, but you checked your plan first. You become the watcher of the chaos, not the victim of it. This is your emotional edge. The calm trader has a superpower. They can delay their reaction. Even just 5 seconds of pause between impulse and action can save you from disaster. That pause is where awareness lives. That pause is where growth happens. That pause is the difference between a good trade and a stupid one. Now listen closely. You will never eliminate emotion from trading. Don't waste your time trying to. You're human. You'll feel excitement, fear, doubt, greed. That's fine. But what you can do is separate those emotions from your behavior. You don't act because you're afraid. You act despite the fear. That's emotional maturity. And it's a choice you can make every single day. Let me give you something practical here. Next time you feel the market going wild and your heart rate spikes, try this technique. It's called the name and frame method. Name it. Say, I'm feeling anxious because the market is dropping fast. Frame it. This is a normal emotional response. I don't need to act on it. Simple? Yes. But powerful? Absolutely. It reminds your brain that feelings aren't facts, and that actions don't have to follow emotion. You can stay in the fire and still remain calm. Because real control isn't about forcing outcomes. It's about mastering your reactions. You're not here to beat the market. You're here to beat your worst habits. And every time you choose calm over chaos, you build that muscle. Every moment you stay grounded when others are losing their heads, you win a little more. You build trust in yourself. You become unshakable. And over time, that calm confidence turns into consistency. That's the goal. That's the path. And it all starts with letting go of the myth of control and stepping into your actual power. Chapter 3. How your brain betrays you under pressure, and what to do about it. Let's get one thing straight. You are not broken. You're not weak. You're not too emotional. You're not bad at trading because you feel fear or pressure. You're just human. And your brain, well, your brain wasn't built for trading. It was built for survival. For avoiding saber-toothed tigers, not candlestick wicks. For hoarding food, not letting profits run. For group acceptance, not individual conviction during drawdowns. So when you put this ancient survival system into the chaos of modern trading, it betrays you. And if you don't understand how that betrayal works, you'll keep falling into the same traps again and again. Let me show you how. Trap number 1, the need for certainty. Your brain hates uncertainty. It craves patterns, predictability, answers. But the market? The market thrives on randomness. So what does your brain do when a setup fails? It panics. It screams, "What went wrong? Why didn't it work?" It demands an answer immediately. And if it can't find one, it starts imagining things. Maybe the market hates me. Maybe this strategy is broken. Maybe I'm just not cut out for this. That's not logic talking. That's fear dressed in reason's clothing. So here's the trick. Embrace uncertainty. Make peace with it. Accept that no setup is guaranteed. No signal is perfect. No edge works every time. Trade probabilities, not promises. Say it with me now. I don't need certainty to act. I need process. That shift changes everything. Trap number 2, the loss aversion. Your brain feels the pain of a loss twice as powerfully as the pleasure of a gain. It's been proven, tested, mapped neurologically. This is why cutting losses feels like torture, why you hold on to losers longer than you should, why you hesitate to take small losses only to end up with massive ones. It's not stupidity, it's wiring. But guess what? Wiring can be overridden. Start by flipping the script. Instead of saying, I'm taking a loss, say, I'm paying a small fee to stay in the game. That's all a stop loss is. It's not punishment, it's permission. Permission to protect your capital. Permission to wait for a better setup. Permission to live to trade another day. And with every small, disciplined loss, you train your brain to see pain as growth. It won't feel natural at first. That's okay. You're not trying to feel good. You're trying to trade well. Trap number 3, the dopamine roller coaster. Every green candle, every win, every spike in your P&L, your brain floods with dopamine. That chemical high makes you feel like a genius, like you've cracked the code, like this is the one that'll change your life. But here's the problem. The more you chase that high, the more impulsive you become. You start overtrading. You size up recklessly. You abandon the plan because this one just feels right. And when the market snaps back, you crash. Hard. So what do? You disconnect your self-worth from your outcomes. You stop chasing the dopamine. You stop letting wins define your identity. Because you're not your green days. You're not your red days either. You are the consistency between them. And consistency doesn't spike dopamine. It builds discipline, quietly, steadily. And that's what builds real traders. Trap number 4, herd mentality. You see everyone talking about a hot stock, a breakout, a crash, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And suddenly, you feel it. That twitch, that FOMO. You want to jump in, not because your system told you to, but because everyone else is doing it. That's your tribal brain at work. Thousands of years ago, going against the tribe could get you killed. So your brain learned to follow the crowd, even if the crowd was wrong. But in trading, that instinct can wipe you out. So here's the fix. Learn to watch the herd without joining it. Yes, price is behavior. Yes, market sentiment matters. But your execution must always be rooted in your own rules, not in Twitter, Discord, or CNBC. If you need a mantra, use this. I don't chase noise. I trade structure. And say it out loud if you have to. Because calm isn't just emotional. It's strategic. It's built on internal conviction, not external hype. Trap number 5, the short-term obsession. Your brain is addicted to now. Instant gratification, immediate results, the quick win. That's why it loves scalping, loves checking the P&L, loves reacting to every candle. But success in trading isn't built on moments. It's built on compounding behavior over time. You need to zoom out. You need to stop asking, did this trade work? And start asking, am I trading my edge with discipline over the long run? Because even perfect trades will lose sometimes, and even dumb trades will win sometimes. The goal isn't to be right today. The goal is to be consistent this year. So stop judging yourself based on one trade or one session or one week. Your worth isn't in your win rate, it's in your process rate. And when you anchor to that, you free yourself from the emotional whiplash of short-term thinking. Look, you will never fully escape these traps. They're hardwired into the operating system of your brain. But awareness changes everything. When you can name the trap, you can escape it. When you know your brain is trying to save you with panic, fear, and impulse, you can smile, breathe, and say, "Thanks, brain, but I've got this." Because you do. You're learning to work with your psychology, not against it. You're building new pathways, new habits, new calm responses. And every time you choose awareness over autopilot, you step closer to mastery, not just as a trader, but as a human being. Chapter 4. The Emotion-Action Gap, Mastering the Pause Before You Trade. There's a moment, a sliver of space, a heartbeat between feeling and doing. It's so small, so fast, you almost always miss it. But that moment, the pause between emotion and action, is where your trading future lives. And most traders never see it. They feel a surge of fear, and before they even realize it, they've clicked sell. They feel excitement, and they've slammed buy without a second thought. No plan, no pause, just emotion instantly converted into action. You've done it, I've done it, we all have. But here's what separates the impulsive trader from the calm one. The calm one notices that gap and uses it. Let's break it down. You're sitting in front of your screen. Price starts to fall. Not fast at first, just a little dip. But your brain doesn't see a dip. It sees danger. It starts spinning. What if this keeps going? What if I lose more? I knew I shouldn't have taken this trade. Your chest tightens, your pulse quickens, the mouse cursor starts drifting toward the exit button. That's the moment. That's the gap. That's where your old you reacts. But the new you pauses. Even if it's just for 2 seconds. Even if it's just long enough to ask yourself a simple question. Am I reacting emotionally or executing my plan? That's the key. That single question shines a light on the difference between reaction and response. Because here's the truth. Emotions aren't the problem. Unconscious reactions are. Calm traders don't ignore their emotions. They don't try to be robots. They feel everything, but they don't let feelings steer the ship. Instead, they master the gap. They install a checkpoint between emotion and execution. Let me show you how to build that checkpoint. Start with this mantra. Feel, pause, decide. Feel. Don't deny the emotion. Recognize it. Name it. Say, this is fear. This is greed. This is FOMO. Pause. Give yourself space. Take 3 deep breaths. Step away from the mouse. Stand up if you need to. Decide. Ask, what does my trading plan say to do here? Not your emotions, not your urges, your plan. This process can take 10 seconds or 10 minutes. Doesn't matter. What matters is that you interrupt the loop. Because most bad trades don't happen in silence. They happen in emotional noise. And when you pause the noise, you regain clarity. Let's take a real example. Let's say you're in a long position. News breaks. Market gaps down. You see a huge red candle on your chart. It breaks a support level. Your heart jumps. You feel the panic starting to rise. You want to click sell right now just to make it stop. But wait. You pause. You breathe. You go to your rules. You check your stop loss. It hasn't hit yet. You're still inside your parameters. The plan says to hold, so you hold. Not because it feels good, but because it's what you committed to. And maybe that trade still fails. That's fine. But now it's not an emotional failure, it's a strategic outcome. You followed the plan, you didn't flinch, you exercised discipline. And that's the win. Because that's what builds the real account, your psychological capital. You see, your real edge in trading isn't just your strategy. It's your ability to execute that strategy under stress. Anyone can follow rules when things are calm. But when the candles are crashing and your palms are sweaty, that's when you find out who you are. And the difference between success and failure in that moment? The pause. Let me give you a tool to help build that muscle. It's called the 90-second rule. Here's how it works. When you feel an emotional impulse, fear, greed, anger, FOMO, set a 90-second timer. That's it. 90 seconds where you don't act, you don't trade, you don't click, you just observe. Because here's what science says. Most intense emotional reactions only last 90 seconds if you don't feed them. That's all. And when you sit through those 90 seconds, when you breathe and let the wave pass, you come out the other side with clarity. The storm calms, your brain resets, you make better decisions. It's like watching the market from the shoreline instead of being tossed around in the waves. And the more you do this, the easier it gets. You stop being a slave to every emotional spike. You stop reacting just to make the feeling stop. You start choosing your trades. And those choices, stacked day after day, create mastery. Let's be clear, you will still feel the urge. There will still be days when you want to click without thinking. You're human. But the goal isn't to eliminate emotion. The goal is to become someone who can hold emotion without obeying it. You're creating a buffer, a moment of presence in the chaos, a breath between the trigger and the trade. And inside that breath is your edge. The trader who acts from emotion is like a leaf in the wind. The trader who acts from pause is like a tree rooted in the ground. Wind may bend you, news may shake you, volatility may roar, but you remain grounded. That's what the pause gives you. That's what calm feels like. Not numb, not perfect, just stable, just present, just strong enough to sit in the fire and wait for your setup. Because you don't chase noise anymore. You wait for clarity. You wait for your system. You wait for truth. And when it comes, you act. Not from panic, from power. Chapter 5. Building a pre-game ritual to anchor your mind. Before the charts even light up, before the bell rings, before your first click of the mouse, you've already won or lost the trading day. It doesn't happen during the trade. It happens before. In those quiet moments, in that space before the action, that's where your edge begins. And if you don't have a pre-game ritual yet, a mental warm-up to stabilize your emotions before the chaos begins, you're stepping into the arena unarmed. Think about it. Would an elite athlete walk into a championship match without stretching? Would a musician perform live without tuning their instrument? Would a surgeon enter the operating room without mentally rehearsing the procedure? No. And yet, most traders roll out of bed, rub the sleep out of their eyes, open the charts, and just start clicking. No reset, no preparation, just reactive noise from minute one. That ends now. because you're going to create your own trading ritual, something personal, powerful, repeatable, to center yourself before the madness begins. Let's break it down. Step 1. Create a physical cue. You need something tangible, something real, a simple action that signals to your brain it's time to enter the zone. It could be as small as making coffee and lighting a candle, or writing one sentence in a journal, or sitting in the same chair in the same posture every morning. Your body craves routine. When you give it a reliable cue, it triggers focus, just like Pavlov's bell. So pick one. Make it sacred. Make it yours. Step 2. Scan your emotional state. Before you even glance at a chart, stop and ask, how do I feel today? Not how the market feels, how you feel. Are you tired, anxious, rushed, impatient, overconfident, hungry, distracted? Be honest, because if you walk into the market unaware of your internal weather, you'll blame every storm on the chart, when in truth, it started inside you. So take 1 minute to write it down. Just a sentence. I feel wired today. I'm nervous because of yesterday's loss. I feel calm and focused. That's it. This process trains emotional self-awareness, and self-awareness is what gives you the power to manage yourself before managing trades. Step 3. Review your rules out loud. Yes, out loud. Say your core trading rules to yourself with your own voice. I follow my system. I trade only A-plus setups. I never chase. I cut losers quickly. I size properly. I protect my capital. These aren't just words, they're armor. When you speak them, you remind your brain what matters. You set the tone. You override fear with principle. This is your identity, and you're reaffirming it before the storm arrives. Step 4. Rehearse the worst. This might sound strange, but elite performers don't just visualize success, they rehearse adversity. So you sit quietly and you ask yourself, what if my first trade is a loser today? What if I miss the best setup of the day? What if the market chops sideways for hours? And then you decide in advance how you'll respond. If I lose the first trade, I'll take a walk before the second. If I miss a setup, I'll log it, not chase it. If it's a choppy day, I'll trade smaller or stand aside. Why do this? Because it robs those scenarios of their emotional power. You've already lived them mentally. You've already handled them. So when they arrive, and they will, you're not shocked. You're steady. You're ready. Step 5. Lock in with breath. Just before the open, close your eyes for 30 seconds and breathe. Inhale slowly, hold it, exhale even slower. Let your shoulders relax. Let the noise fade. Let your focus sharpen. You're not just opening a trading terminal, you're entering a performance zone. This breath is your doorway. And when you exhale, you walk through it, calm, centered, unshaken. Let me tell you something important. Your pre-game ritual doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just needs to be yours. It needs to ground you, to anchor you, to remind you who you are before the chaos starts whispering lies in your ear. Because the market will test you. It'll push every button. It'll tell you you're wrong, that you're behind, that you need to act now or lose everything. And when that moment comes, you'll smile. Because you've already been there, in your mind. You've already trained for this moment. And you'll respond, not react. That's what rituals do. They strip away randomness. They build consistency. They hardwire professionalism into your process. You're not some gambler chasing thrills. You're not an emotional wreck clicking from fear. You're a professional trader. You're an emotional athlete. You're someone who prepares their mind before risking capital. This is who you are now. And your pre-market ritual? That's your uniform. Every time you wear it, you step into power. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up for yourself before the bell. Chapter 6: The Power of Detachment. How to Trade Without Needing to Win. Let's get honest for a second. You want to win. You want green trades. You want validation. You want to feel like you're getting it right, finally. And there's nothing wrong with that. Wanting to win is human. It's natural. But needing to win? That's dangerous. Because when you need to win, you become fragile. Your emotions attach to outcomes. Your identity ties itself to every tick of the chart. You're no longer trading your edge. You're trading your worth. And the market doesn't care. It doesn't care how bad you want it. It doesn't care how long you've been waiting for a win. It doesn't care how many red days you've had. When you're emotionally attached to the outcome, you lose your power. But when you trade from a place of detachment, you become dangerous in the best way possible. You trade from clarity, from presence, from freedom. So let's talk about how to build that kind of detachment without becoming numb or robotic. First, you redefine what winning means. It's no longer about green versus red. It's about execution versus emotion. A win is following your process, regardless of outcome. A loss is abandoning your process, even if the trade worked out. That shift changes everything, because now your goal is something you can control. Outcomes fluctuate. Execution doesn't have to. When you start grading yourself based on behavior, not results, you reclaim your stability. You stop chasing wins. You start stacking consistency. Second, you stop trying to make it back. One of the most dangerous thoughts in trading is, I need to recover that lost loss right now. That's not trading. That's revenge. It's attachment dressed up like urgency. And it's a trap. Because when you trade to fix an emotional wound, you make everything worse. You oversize. You force entries. You abandon your system. And the hole gets deeper. But when you're detached, you don't chase. You observe. You say, that loss happened. It's done. My job now is to trade clean, not to fix the past. You're not a hero. You're not on some redemption arc. You're a professional, and professionals don't react emotionally. They respond methodically. Third, you build a life outside of trading. You want to stay calm when the market's going crazy? Then you need something in your life that's not the market. If your entire identity is trader, then every losing day becomes a threat to who you are. But if you're also a father, a runner, a reader, a friend, then one bad session doesn't crush your self-worth. You have other sources of pride, other places to succeed, other ways to win even when your trades don't. This is what makes you resilient. Trading is important, but it's not your identity. It's a craft, a challenge, a game of discipline and probabilities. But you are not your P&L. And the moment you truly believe that, you unlock real detachment. Fourth, you practice expectant neutrality. Here's what that means. You expect your edge to play out over time, but you remain emotionally neutral about each trade. Say it with me. I expect nothing from this single trade. I trust the process across hundreds. That attitude creates freedom. Now you're not married to one setup. You're not shaken by one loser. You don't over-celebrate one winner. You're steady, centered, unshaken. That's the mindset of calm, long-term success. Fifth, you normalize losses. Seriously, losses aren't evidence that something's wrong. They're part of the game. Even the best traders in the world lose. They lose often, but they lose small. They lose smart. They lose with acceptance. You need to make peace with loss, because if you treat every red trade as a crisis, you'll never stay calm in the storm. Start saying this to yourself daily. Losses are rent. I pay them to stay in the game. Would you panic every time you paid rent on your home? No, because rent is expected. It's part of life. So are losses. The goal isn't to avoid them. It's to survive them with discipline intact. Let's pause for a second. Breathe with me. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Now, imagine this version of you. You take a red trade, and you don't flinch. You miss a setup, and you don't chase. You see profits vanish, and you stay grounded. You get stopped out, and calmly wait for the next A+ setup. This version of you doesn't feel numb. They feel powerful, untouchable, because they're no longer tied to the outcome. They're anchored in process, in truth, in neutrality. That's detachment. And it's not cold, it's calm. Conclusion. You made it. 15 deep, honest, real chapters, each one peeling back the layers of what it truly takes to stay calm when the market is going absolutely crazy. Take a second, breathe. Because if you've stuck with this audiobook all the way through, you're not just a curious listener, you're a serious trader. A trader who wants more than just quick profits. You want control, you want clarity, you want freedom, not just financial, but emotional. And that starts, as you now know, from within. The market will always move. It will spike and crash. It will trigger panic and euphoria. News will drop. Stops will get hit. Systems will be tested. But the one thing you can control, the one thing that will separate you from the 90% who never make it, is your ability to stay calm under pressure. Now let's be clear, this isn't some magical overnight fix. You don't become Zen just because you listen to a script. But what you do now have are the tools. You know what emotional patterns to watch out for. You know how to recognize panic before it hijacks your decisions. You understand how to ground yourself, how to breathe, how to pause. You've learned how to build identity-based habits, so trading doesn't feel like a roller coaster, but a process. You're not immune to emotion. You're just no longer its victim. And that's what gives you the edge. Because in the long game of trading, not just weeks or months, but years, your emotional mastery becomes your greatest weapon. When everyone else is breaking down, you're staying focused. When the herd is chasing green candles, you're calmly executing your plan. And when the red days hit, and they always will, you don't spiral. You breathe, you assess, you reset, you move forward. That's how professionals trade. That's how consistency is built. That's how peace of mind becomes your baseline, not a lucky exception. Now, if this audiobook helped you, even in a small way, here's what I ask. Subscribe to this channel. This is just the beginning. There are so many more deep dive psychology guides, practical trade mindset tips, and real talk breakdowns coming your way. We're building something rare here, a space where traders aren't judged for their mistakes, but coached through them. Drop a comment below. What was your biggest takeaway? Which technique hit home? Where do you still struggle when the market goes wild? Your story might help another trader, and your feedback helps shape what we create next. So don't just listen, become part of the conversation. That's how we all grow. Thank you, truly, for giving your time and attention to this journey. It means more than you know. Now take what you've learned and walk back into the market with a little more calm, a little more strength, and a whole lot more confidence. Remember, the market can go crazy all at once. You stay calm.